Hey there, everyone. So we're back Monday morning, and I am talking about tethered oral tissues. And so if you saw my post earlier from a few days ago, I have been taking a class. Actually, it was about colic. Oh my gosh, my darn phone. But tons of information about tongue and lip ties. So I made some notes because I wanted to give you guys some basics. A lot of this stuff I've heard many times, and then I forget that sometimes this is the first time other people are hearing it. So I wanted to just start with some basics to kind of explain some different things. So first of all, there's so much more to it than just like breastfeeding and speech issues. There can be a lot of stuff later on that will happen. So when we're talking tongue, lip ties, if you have it, you have it. It's not like you're a little tongue-tied. That would be like saying, and she gave the best example, and I've heard this many times, but like I said, sometimes I forget that maybe some other people haven't heard it like this. You either have one or you don't. It's like saying you're a little bit pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. It's the same with like a tongue tie. You either have it or you don't have it. The other thing that she mentioned in the class is that if you have a lip tie, which would be up here, right? You have a tongue tie, but it's often missed because there are different classifications. And so a classification 4 is often missed because it's almost like a speed bump under the tongue. And so it is often missed. If it is a classification 4, you are going to see, like when the baby cries, you're going to see the sides of the tongue go up and the front of the tongue curl up. So that is something to watch for. And also if you have, like I said, that lip tie, there will be a tongue tie, but sometimes that can be missed. So the other thing too is if it's pulling, if there is that tongue or lip tie in there, we know that it's pulling from the cranium all the way down to the sacrum. And I talk a lot about this with moms that come into the office because that's where you have different dural tension, stuff like that, and won't go too deep into it, but we know that there is tension throughout the whole system if we have this tongue and lip tie. The other thing too that I wanted to talk about with the tongue and lip tie is that when it anchors, and I got my notes because I want to make sure I get all this stuff in for you guys. When it anchors, it causes the suprahyoid bones or suprahyoid muscles, to be contracted. So it's going to be pulling down, and now we have this like abnormal cervical or abnormal like head posture, stress on that cervical spine, which is going to lead to altered information into the central nervous system. So obviously we don't want that either. And I just have a little one that's pulling like this and does have a tongue tie. So therefore I know he's got to have this lip tie, or he has a lip tie, therefore I know he has a tongue tie. So we got to make sure that we're getting that addressed because we can do adjustments. We can work on loosening those restrictions for the tongue and lip ties, but they really do need to be revised because we don't know how much stress that's putting on the system until we take it off of the system. So it does need to be revised, and then still we need to do the adjustments and the cranial work. But the great thing is that once it's revised, the adjustments actually will hold longer, which is a huge benefit. Couple other things that I wanted to mention. So if you have a lip tie, oftentimes you're going to have like abnormal breastfeeding, abnormal suction. And so that oftentimes can lead to GI distress, which is going to sometimes appear as colic in a lot of little ones. And I know we see this a lot where moms are like, I think they have colic. And so we do check all the tongue, lip tie stuff too. So if that is going on, if there is some ties, they should be revised, and sometimes that can help with what might appear as colic, but there is more GI distress in those cases. And then also they have an increase in the gag reflex. And so make note of that as well. And so it does need to be revised, like I said. The other thing too is that sensory and motor exercises definitely need to be added because that will help so that those restrictions don't come back, because they can come back if you're not doing the exercises. And so we do a lot of internal cranial work, things like that, outer cranial work, but the sensory and motor exercises are super huge as well, to make sure that these kids are getting the maximum benefit of having that revision. So if you guys have questions, comments, if you know somebody who is dealing with a baby with colic, send this video to them, because this might help explain why they're having some of those symptoms, why the baby is. But yeah, it's something that we see all the time in our office, you guys. We're dealing with it. So that's why I'm diving deeper and everything into a lot of these classes, because we want to know the best way to help you and give you some really good advice. So hope you guys found it interesting. Like I said, ask questions, whether it's in the comments, personal message us, and send it to your friends so that we can help more of these little babies thrive. So talk to you guys later. Bye.